I'm back.
No?
Down.
Alright, in the back, can you hear me? Okay, I'm terrible with microphones, and it goes too low, just like give me a hand wave and I'll pull it up. Alright, so I'm here today to talk a little bit about the world of artificial intelligence. Who here has heard of cognitive or artificial intelligence? Raise your hand. Awesome. Who here has interacted with artificial intelligence? Raise your hand. Okay. Who here is an expert in artificial intelligence? Perfect. People don't get so I'm really excited here to talk about something I'm really obsessed and passionate about, which is designing for humans. And as practitioners in the field, which I'm sure many of you are, I think you know what it means to design for humans. But what about the new world we're entering in, where we are designing for humans, interacting with technology that has human-like qualities and stuff? And that, at a high level, is what I'm here to talk about today. We only have 30 minutes, so we're going to brush on the topic very high level. If I can do this, okay. Before I dive in, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Becca, and I am about to actually trek cross country to work as a design researcher at Google in the Mountain View location. For the last 3.5 years, I've been a senior design manager at IBM, working with the IBM analytics team. And so what I did was I focused on creating solutions where we aggregate data and use data to help inform business decisions or help people make decisions. And that is a team of UX and visual designers. And I play many different roles in design. I've done visual design, I've done user experience design, but my primary passion is research. And so those are the lenses in which I'm speaking to you today. Outside of work, I love to do yoga, and I'm passionate about everything in that space. So I kind of have the dual personality. You have like the peace loving hippie kind of thing, and then I have the advanced artificial intelligence loving technology side. So, cognitive. The definition that I most understand about cognitive is that it understands, it reasons, and it learns, all while interacting with humans. So understand, it takes structured and unstructured data, both textual or sensory based, and it understands them at its cognitive volume, meaning you can throw tons and tons and tons of data in it, and it's seconds it can process that. But it doesn't just understand the data, it forms hypotheses or hypotheses. It aggregates the data, it comes up with arguments, and it helps prioritize recommendations so that humans can make better decisions. It learns more treatment. So it learns how to think better, it learns more about your language, it learns the context in which you're speaking while it's doing everything else. And on top of that, it actually interacts with humans. So this is the definition that we're going to move forward with today for cognitive. In artificial intelligence, this tends to be applied when a machine mimics any cognitive functions that you typically associate with another human. So this could be something like visual perception, this could be speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. Now that being said, the true AI systems must learn on their own, learn from past interactions, and get smarter and more aware as they move on. So if you're anything like me, you're thinking, okay, the machines are taking over. And something like this individual comes to mind from popular movies. The good news is we're not here yet, but we will be. So you all on a tangent, AI may not be a threat to our existence today, but there's no stopping it, and it's evolution. Because as humans, we are obsessed with innovation, and so we will get there at some point. To make the point even stronger, Stephen Hawking said in an interview with the BBC that the development of full artificial intelligence is spell the end of the human race. He then went on to explain why. It's not that the robots are going to take over, but the problem is that once full AI comes into play, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to ignore us. We don't know if it's going to feed off of our intelligence and work with us, or just completely blindside us and get way further than we ever could have seen in the brain. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert today in AI. I'm just simply a designer who loves the idea of it. And what I'm really interested in talking about with you guys today is, as designers and developers, how do we bridge the gap between this new world of technology and designing for humans? So I asked you guys in the beginning if any of you have interacted with artificial intelligence, and about half of you raised your hand. If anybody in this room has an Apple phone, you have interacted with artificial intelligence. And these things are creeping into our lives every day, affecting how we work, how we shop, how we cook, and how we live. Hopefully in positive ways so far. And it does have a huge opportunity in the future to improve our lives on a day-to-day basis. As I mentioned, there are many consumer-level products today and applications in circulation, from Siri to Alexa, and even enterprise-level offerings like Watson and self-driving vehicles. Now, AI is in smartphone devices, is in music recommendations, is in online customer support, purchase prediction, video games, and beyond. But most people don't know these things are artificial intelligence, or AI, which is probably good enough. Because the average consumer is not yet ready for AI in everyday life. Now, what I mean by that is they are ready for the convenience, the quickness, and the simplification that artificial intelligence brings, but they're not yet ready to know that it's actually a computer making decisions and not a human. So essentially, machines are driving. So a couple of months ago, I was asked to get really involved in artificial intelligence idea. And I had no idea what I was doing. I've never touched it before that. I never wanted to think about it before that. Because as I mentioned, it's a little bit of a scary role for me. So I'm going to focus the topic today on conversational artificial intelligence. Because the world of artificial intelligence is quite large, we don't have enough time. So when I was asked to create an enterprise-level chatbot experience with our employee engagement offering, I put together a quick design and initial strategy for how I would do the project. But then I realized I was completely stuck. I didn't know how to get started, what to do, what research did I need, who do I talk to, who had experts. So I did what I would normally do in any other project. And I went out and I talked to what I thought were the average user, just asking them questions very generally. And through all of these conversations, I realized that many people have the same secrets that I do about artificial intelligence. Limits and reach. When does it stop thinking? How does it come to a final decision? Security. What data does it have access to? Is it aggregating I don't know about? So what I mean by this, for anybody in the room who doesn't understand how data works, when you aggregate data, typically you have a lot of platforms or applications. And those applications have your name, your number, your email address, your actual home address, and much more information about you. Typically, artificial intelligence or cognitive applications will bring data across all of those applications to help you be more connected. And so, yeah, you get that ease and that quickness, but the security level is how much does it know? If I have an application on my phone that has medical data, is it touching that too? And where is that then going? So security is a big concern. Finally, trust. What factors does it use to make a decision if that's the application is touching? And can that decision be wrong? Because we know that artificial intelligence is initially trained by a human, and then it just gets better over time by itself. But to that person who initially trained it, do they know what they're talking about? Do they have the right morals and the right ethics in mind when they were designing this or teaching this? And if that person is wrong, relying on where can I use the data? And finally, how do I shut it down? If it goes really wrong and we're about to do something, what can I do about it? That being said, there's also the flip side, which is all the possibilities that artificial intelligence brings to the everyday user, which is it can be helpful, it can be effortless, and it can be translated. So what does this mean for design and for development? That's what we're talking for today, right? UX is moving away from people. Today we talk a lot about where we're going to place the button, so we have good ROI. Where are we going to how are we going to design the search experience? Is it advanced search or is it basic search? Well, that doesn't really matter anymore when we're starting to get into artificial intelligence. Most of the way that users are going to interact with it is through a conversation. So now it's about thinking about that, building trust and relationships between users and search, and breaking the mold at the same time. So in all of the work I've done over the last couple months, I came today with 5 tips on how to design with artificial intelligence in mind. Step 1 is give the bot an appropriate persona. So you have to really think about what is going to resonate with your end user. Typically, it used to be what colors resonate, what form copies resonate. Now it's about what personality resonate. Think about gender. Which user base, or what will your user base find more comfortable in this world? Is it male or female? Then the personality. Is it the old friend? He's friendly to people, and he might take action for you, but he might not be memorable. You might not think to go back. Or is bright and bubbly the right way to go. They suggest actions and content for you, and perhaps they are more proactive. They try to anticipate what actions you might need. That being said, if not done well, that can be annoying to intrusive. Or lastly, is it efficient and smart? Is it automatically making suggestions for you without any, basic kind of beginning to the conversation? That might come across as a little bit too robotic and therefore emotional. So picking the personality of the artificial intelligence is critical. You want it to be a fine balance between human-like but not too human. The person needs to know they're still working with something without arms. Step 2 is decide the cognitive capabilities of the robot. So really thinking about, in your experience, what do you need? So the first one, speech to text. Do you want your user to talk to it and it then translates those words into language that it understands, like Siri and Alexa? Or tone analysis. Halfway through the conversation, and this is a help support bot, for example. If you start noticing that the person's talking to you and they're really getting aggressive, it is start out that way. That might trigger something. It might say this person's not getting what they need, so we should go with that. And lastly, personality insight. Does it aggregate data from your Twitter feed and understand who you are, therefore can adapt its personality to talk more like you? Is it sarcastic? These are all really important decisions that have to be based on your user base. If your user base is going to be concerned about working with it, then you want to make it maybe more robotic. Step 3 is to design the conversation. This part is the most challenging possibly for designers and developers today. We're used to designing copy that is statically on a page. But in this world, now we have to design a whole conversation that is going to evolve. Because we don't really know how the users are going to interact with it. So we have to decide, is it direct? Does it go straight to the point? If it's in something like security or the medical industry, you might want it to be direct so that you're not wasting someone's time. Is it educational? Is it telling you all the different things you can do, even if they're not necessarily applicable to that conversation time? And lastly, is it action-based? Does it step up and make an action for you? Step 4 is to design the user journey, which is to reveal the features gradually. Now, this is the thing that we know most about, right? As designers, this is the growth we should start. And so what this is about is this is deciding if your artificial intelligence is either going to present what the user can do or do it for them. So let's take a scenario of I am talking to Siri and I say, add a reminder to my calendar. That's me telling it I want to do it. But if I happen to mention or it sees in a text message that I told my friends I want to do lunch tomorrow, it could open up and say, hey, you go get out and share calendar tomorrow. These are just 2 different ways to design a user experience. But then let's take it further, and that's part about revealing features gradually. A lot of times AI capabilities come jam-packed with features that you just don't know about. If you don't want to know about them, it's something you log in. You shouldn't open it and go, hey, by the way, I can do your laundry, I can wash your dog or wash your dog, I can wash your car, I can take your dog for a walk. You want it to know the very first thing that you need it to do, and then reveal what other features will do the conversation. And lastly, consider visually. Provide an alternative. If you know that this is a space where people might not actually interact with technology on a daily basis, give them a second way of doing the same thing, or maybe even a question of thought or execution. So what I mean by this is, let's say healthcare. Half of the people might be in younger generation, or they might be really advanced with technology. Therefore, a lot of AI is not going to freak them out. Or they could be the grandmothers, not doing anything smartphones. Do you really want to put a bot in their hands? So think about the user. So in conclusion today, I tried to summarize what I think is the most important pieces to remember when looking into cognitive and artificial intelligence for students. Add value and need, but don't be an extra step in the process. Don't throw a bot in for a bot's sake. If a bot is the best way to accomplish the goal, fantastic. Do a killer job. But if a bot is just going to make it harder for the user to get to their end goal, scrap it. And going along with that, ensure that artificial intelligence systems work both contextually. Don't surprise the user. Don't jump out in front of them if they're not prepared. Ask for permission and tell the user what is happening. This is very important when you're taking information from one application to another. If you're storing that information for future conversations or future interactions with the bot, tell the user that you're doing that and let them opt out. Set up the appropriate expectations. Make it clear that it can think, but it doesn't have arms and it's not going to come after them. Make the conversation natural, so keep it moving. So you have to learn over time, and the conversation has to get better. So try and select user feedback on the experience, making sure the conversation is the right. If you select the direct, should you change it to the action thing? Don't judge. Humans make mistakes all the time. That is the nature of being human. And if we make a mistake using technology, we often think it's our fault. So interacting with a bot is a new piece of technology, it's a new world. And so don't judge the user if they're not getting what they're looking for or they're frustrated by the experience. That's when you can then provide that alternative path. Avoid open-ended questions for the options. Don't make me come in and answer the question, hey, how are you doing today? That's not going to help me get to my end goal. And recognize when things are better than by a human. So again, sensitive information, things that might be touchy, or things that might be with a user base that's not familiar with technology, don't throw technology that's advanced in front of them. Give them a user. Give them a user. And lastly, enjoy the new challenge of engaging with humans and the user. Thank you.
Yes. Oh.
Probably get louder.
Great.
So outside of these, I've never seen the customization where the user picks their own. But I got in the marketing department wanting to pick for someone, right? In your mind, do you think there's that makes sense, or do you think that users that are customized are primarily into this?
So the question, if you didn't know, was about do you pick the persona, or is it a good idea for the user to get involved in that? And I've actually done it the latter way, because I think it's fast, is giving users input. So again, this could be even if it's not AI. But if there's an instance where I'm interacting with a personality, let me identify or match it to me. And so I'm a certain type of person, and I know I'm very quick to the point. I don't want to get into my time. So if you give me a fluffy, fun bot, I'm going to be so annoyed and going to run away. But if you give me that directly in the right one, I'm going to be happy to okay, I already use that. But not everybody is like me, and not everybody is like me. So I absolutely think that's a good idea. When you're designing and building a bot, having multiple personalities, and either letting the user choose or letting the technology figure out and then switch to that right conversation. There's a former piece of the UX, which is about customization. Again, going outside of the artificial intelligence world and the plot world, customization, as long as it's not getting in the way of me completing my task, is a really valuable thing. Because again, I might want certain pieces of information to always be restricted. I might want you to always do the action for me, but somebody else might want to do it themselves. And the biggest piece is permission. You absolutely have to ask for permission. Because a lot of artificial intelligence tools are actually touching things you don't realize they're touching inherently, and that is very sensitive to people. They really are concerned about who's getting their information or shared.
Hi. Persona is kind of interesting concept. Behaviors that I understand is there's an action behavior. So if you have a particular persona or style of interacting, the user tends to match that style. You have a bubbly one person that you might use a bubbly back perhaps. So there's this interaction going on there. How do you help with that in the sense that you have an interface that expects someone to start matching it, or if there's a mismatch, is it supposed to test somehow, or what's the design parameters?
That's a great question. And it's very hard to answer because I think it depends on the domain which you're designing for. If we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about finances, we're talking about anything that's personal information is secure, you want to make it a little bit, I think, more robotic initially, and then let that thing adjust to the personality of property don't make somebody change who they are and talk to the things. Because again, when you're talking about healthcare finances and types of things, you're very, very nervous about what's happening in a particular environment. If it's a health bot, let's say you go on to, pick on California. If you're on like Dell.com and you're clicking around and you can't find what you're looking for, and there's a little bot that pops up at the bottom that says, hey, can I help you find what you're looking for? That's a great example of Starbucks being brighter and ugly because it's offering your help. You're not seeing your help. So you really need to, one, go back to the user base. Who are you designing for? What domain are you designing for? And figure out what it should be for.
Other questions? Yeah.
Most bots that use an application, you'll make a request and maybe you'll click option. Say, I don't know what you're talking about. Where is the line between giving too many options or, saying that you don't know what you're talking about? Because I know it would be annoying to get a whole bunch of things every time. How do you figure out that line?
That's a great question. And I'm actually going to pull out a number because I tested that. Not saying that this is tested heavily in the industry, so you might want to use some supplements of your own. But when I was designing this conversation with my bot, I found 2 options plus the find more or suggest more or this isn't what I'm looking for. Is that right number? Most of the time bots are not full page takeover, meaning they're not the entire screen. It's either on a phone or it's a little piece of the user experience, so maybe half of the screen. And so you're talking about talking to somebody like this in your text, right? So keeping the conversation as short and simple as possible is the most important. So if you want to provide options, give them 2 with the option to teach.
Other questions?
Thanks for that. This is great. I got a question for Liz and do you find companies trying to build their instances or use their test product at a cost?
That's a really good question. I think today a lot of people are going to vendors because there's a couple people who have emerged in the market and they only have this, so they run it very well. At IBM, for instance, we had to use IBM Watson for the basis of our chat. And we didn't have a choice beyond that, which was fine because it was a great piece of technology. I do know some other vendors out there. The difficult thing in building your own is that you have to have a team that can teach cognitive, which is different because you're not programming. You do not program cognitive or artificial intelligence. You teach it naturally, and it learns continuously. So it takes a particular type of behavioral scientists and set of developers to really do that. Anyone else? Great, thanks.
All right.